We'll start. You're very welcome, everybody. And this is the launch of the Westport cycle routes. And I call on John O'Shea, our chairperson, to say a few words. Thank you.
Tractadora, Corloi Kunde, agus Kilidin atá an seo. Tá an áhas gur bhfuil tú an seo inmh chun an seola sin a dhéanamh. Agus anfáilte speisialta go dtí á Taoiseach Enda Kennedy, bheith an seo Thank you all very much for being here today for this occasion of launching our 18 cycles, and councillors, Tractadola, councillors and Reverend, and all other people who have come here to make this successful occasion. I won't keep you too long now because it's a Monday in the middle of the day and you might have a lot of work to do. So just a quick route, 18 cycle routes starting at the Towers Bar in Westport, and these routes are for leisure cyclists. The routes are length from 10 kilometres to 96 kilometres, depending on your fitness level. The routes take in the breathtaking, multivariate landscape, including farming, countryside, mountains, lakes, historical buildings such as castles and coastal sea sections. These routes have been tried and tested by Westport's silver wheelers, and Dick himself has been very much a part of that, being an avid cyclist. Each route can be either printed off before you set out en route, or they can be downloaded onto your smart mobile phone using GPX. And I must learn about that myself. Kerry, I would not too much about this. Most of the routes have access to restaurants all along the way. And with that, I'll hand you over to a man that knows a lot more about Mayo than me.
Okay. I think we'll have Alan first for technology. Thank you.
Dick told me about 5 minutes or 10 minutes ago that I was doing this. So basically Dick developed the 18 cycle routes with friends of other people, and I think it's a great addition to a great thing for Westport tourism to have done. Means there's something else for us to offer people that are coming into the town. As Donald said, the maps can be downloaded from the Westport Tourism website, and then they can be used with Google Maps and View Ranger, which is they're apps where people can actually navigate the routes when they're out on their cycle. And they can also be downloaded by PDF from the Westport Tourism website. And I just want to say well done to Dick for all his hard work. 18 great routes for lots of different levels.
I'd just like to say that this is a cooperation between Westport Tourism Organisation and the Silver Wheelers. The Silver Wheelers go out every Wednesday morning and do a different route. So they tried and tested. We've been doing these for the last 4 or 5 years. So we said we'll try to go public on it and let the tourism in Westport. I'd like to call on Taoiseach Enda Kennedy. Sorry, former Taoiseach.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. I got an email from a young man the other day. He was a student in secondary school, and his class are to write they want to write pieces from different people into a book. And his request was that it should be about memories of Mayo. So memories are collective things. We all remember major incidents and major happenings, but also personal things. They can be sprung in one's mind from photographs or from stories or from recalling different things. So I'd just like to say that the launch of these 18 cycles is one thing. To make them work in the interest of the community here is another. And these things do not happen just like that. On Saturday morning, I took the bicycle out in Dublin and I cycled out to Hoth and up the hill and round about. Went for a cup of coffee and cycled by about 20 miles. I would say the vast majority of cyclists I came across had no light, front or back, and were dressed in dark clothing. I know there are cycle ways and cycle routes, some of which are lethal. But there is no excuse anymore in this day and age for people not being able to be seen, because you don't have the view that the driver has behind you, and you don't have the view that the driver has coming towards you on a blind corner. And these are not greenways, and I know that Dick and his people, the silver wheelers, done a really good job here. Back in the 1990s, one of the few places in the country to actually take into account in a really practical way was Westport in dealing with the program that government brought in for the development of facilities in different areas around the country. The tax relief scheme, which resulted in the Key and all of the hospitality entities in Westport and others improving the facilities that they offered, with the result that you now are deemed by many to be the best town in the country, a place with good public houses, good restaurants, good hotels, good facilities, and the consequence of that is that people arrive here and they want to stay here because they're well treated, and if they're well treated they will spend their money. And this operation that you have here, following on the announcement by government of a 10-year programme to make the island of Ireland very suitable for mountain biking, for hybrid biking, for road biking, and for the use of electric bikes, is entirely compatible with that scheme and that programme. Being the first in the country to develop the Greenway concept from Westport down to Achill, you can see for yourselves the impact economically of people following through on cooperation and initiative to supply everything from coffees and scones to mechanics and bicycles and pick-up points and electric bikes and hybrids and road bikes, little carriages for the kiddies behind. These are wonderful things. If you like, cycling is the new golf, in the sense of people being able to participate as long as they want to, or for as much as they need to. In a town not too far from here, but further kind of west and south, out on the end of the peninsula from Connemara, there was a bicycle shop which is still there many years ago, and John M, who was running the place, used to say to me, I love to hire the bikes, because he said, particularly if they come from Europe and they're maybe big people, that they're back within 15 minutes, because this town is down in a hole and you can only get out of it or into it by either going up hills or down hills.
Mm-hmm.
So these days, with your cycles now, if somebody comes to Westport from wherever, Northern Ireland or from Wexford or from Belgium or from America or wherever, so what have I got to do? I've got a few hours here. Well, what do you want to do? You want to go and visit some historic buildings? You want to visit a tavern? Do you want to go and look at Westport House? Do you want to go and look at whatever it is? Or maybe you want to go for a bit of a cycle. So how long have you got? I've got 2 hours. You might do 3 kilometres, 5 kilometres, 10 kilometres. So they can't pronounce Ahagawa or Derrycroft or Ahalonchin or places like that. So I've been abroad on many occasions where I've participated in these kinds of activities. Now, Theresa May, the Prime Minister, and her husband went for a walk in Wales, and she came back and called an election after that. Well, I went for a walk in Wales with my wife many years ago up around Betsy Coyd, and you were following the directions for a walk of 10 or 15 miles. But the thing was that the book was out of date, and the forests were cut at the point where the indicators were supposed to be, with the result that you went astray in the mountains of North Wales. So the thing for locals is that they understand exactly where the cycle is, but for the person who's coming here to avail of that facility, they don't know, they can't pronounce the names, and they like to think that they're safe where they're travelling to and that they know where they're going to. So directions are very important. So if it's a mile out or 2 kilometres out, whatever, whether you're using electronic or otherwise, cooperation is very important. So communities will say, that little sign will tell the red cyclist or green cyclist or blue cyclist, go left or right for whatever distance, and they know that when they're supposed to turn, that's what they're going to do, and not find themselves in the middle of the sheet freeze, like I was down in the McGillicuddies one day, not knowing what direction you were going in, no signal on your telephone, and trying to make your way, and you end up 20 miles from where you're supposed to be. But this is all about activity. Since Dr. White operated on my knee when I was out in Kennedy in the early 1970s.
You might note that he's won the Ring of Kerry race 20 times.
It was dead for 40 years, but now it's not in great shape. So the fact of the matter is that I couldn't run 200 yards, but I could cycle 200 miles. And the reason you can do that is because you keep at it. So it's not about the Tour de France around Westport, this is about leisure cycling. And the funny thing is that as you get older, as I know from Father Mihal and his expertise in so many fields, you do appreciate things in a very different way. And our county and our country has an awful lot to offer in terms of sky and sea and wind and rain and grass and the smell of hay and the things that are important to us in the building of our character and our tradition. And that's what makes the difference for people who come from abroad. Because if you think of all the places you ever were on holidays, you can say they got cliffs and sun and hills and mountains, but what does it matter unless somebody explains to you, this is the history of this place. These are the important things that you should understand. So come out here on your bicycle for 5k, you can have a cup of coffee or a scone or whatever it is, go down the bit, understand that this is where St. Patrick knelt and said, they're going to come from Ahagao to here or wherever, but you give them a little more substance than just saying travel around. Tell them about the place names, and they're so important in the translation from the Gaelic tongue, from the Irish tongue to the English tongue, the history of the locations, the communities, the kind of people we are, and that's what has made us. So while you start with cycling as an activity, as a leisure activity, which is good for you, you breathe air that comes directly in from the Atlantic. When I used to go to America and speak at the big tourism hospitality functions, they'd say, yeah, but it rains in your country all the time. I say, well, where I come from it rains at least 200 days a year, but then I said it's a bit different actually. First of all, it's acid free. Secondly, it's good for your complexion. And thirdly, it's anti-wrinkle. I know we go from the town where Botox is made for the world and none of you need Botox. But I used to say, look at me, I was born in 1927 and I bathe in it every day. Honey, what did that man say about wrinkles? So, I'd just like to say that it's a privilege to be asked to come and launch this website. The important thing is to make it work effectively, so that you work on the smaller cycles that are here, as you will. So that if people arrive, as they do in their thousands to Westport from not just Ireland, not just Great Britain, but from Europe and beyond, it's to be able to send out two of the Covey wheelers, Sean and somebody else, to say, I'm bringing a group of 5, we're going to Ahagao, there are narrow roads here, the bushes mightn't have been cut at the right time, somebody might come around the corner in the wrong way, at the wrong speed. So we're going to see that you're very safe, that you'll enjoy this cycle, and it's well within your limits. If you want to do 10k, 20k, 50k, or whatever, we have alternatives and opportunities for you to do that as well. So mountains and hills and roads and creeks and drains and bridges and sea and lake and all the rest of it, they're all there to be savoured, to be enjoyed, and to carry away with them when they go back to wherever they came from. And that's the trick. Because as I used to say, if you're stuck on Brooklyn Bridge in a 5-hour traffic jam, or you're in downtown Los Angeles and 30-mile tailback, that you can say, God, would it be great to be over on the Candy this evening? Watch the old sun sink behind Clear Island, and you can take your bicycle back into Westport, have it returned, and enjoy that experience. So good luck to you with all of the elements of the marketing of this. And remember that the best results will come from those who speak about it. Have you been down to Westport? Oh yes, not only do they cycle the Greenway, but they have a load of other cycles there that you should do. Hidden gems and hidden jewels of places that they never heard of, that they were never before a part of, but now becomes